Have you ever felt like there's something missing in your life, like you're stuck in a loop of the same old patterns and nothing ever changes? What if I told you that the key to transforming your life isn't about waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances, but rather about how you use the power of your own mind? Let's dive into something many people haven't seen before. It's a process so transformative that very few truly grasp its potential. We're going to explore how you can break free from the chains of your past and step into a future that you've always dreamed of. Change is one of the most challenging aspects of personal growth. We often find ourselves trapped in a cycle where our past experiences dictate our present and future. But here's the truth. To create the life you want, you must be defined by a vision of the future, not by the memories of the past. The biggest challenge in achieving this is making different choices every day. It's about stepping into the unknown. Now, the unknown may sound intimidating, but it's actually the perfect place for creation. The unknown represents a field of possibilities, a quantum space where all manifestations begin. It's this very space of unpredictability and uncertainty that holds the power for change. When you become comfortable living in this unknown, you start to unlock your true potential. Our brains are designed to reflect everything we've experienced throughout our lives. This means that if you're constantly feeling the same emotions every day, you're likely stuck in the past. Your brain acts like a recording device, keeping track of all your past experiences. When you find yourself having the same thoughts and emotions over and over again, it's because your brain is relying on these past experiences to shape your current reality. Think of your brain like a big library or archive. It stores every memory, emotion, and experience you've ever had. When something happens, your brain looks through its records to find a similar experience and uses that to decide how you should feel and react. If you're feeling the same way every day, it's because your brain is drawing from the same old records. It's as if you're playing the same song on repeat. Your brain is repeating patterns from the past instead of creating new ones. When your thoughts and feelings are based on past experiences, your reality becomes stuck in a loop. This loop is like a cycle that keeps repeating itself. For example, if you've had a difficult experience with a relationship in the past, your brain might keep reminding you of that experience every time you enter a new relationship. This can make it hard for you to move forward and create new positive experiences. Your brain is essentially keeping you anchored to your past. This loop happens because your brain is trying to keep you safe. It uses past experiences to predict what might happen in the future. If something happened before, your brain assumes it will happen again. This can be helpful in some situations, like remembering not to touch a hot stove because you've been burned before. However, it can also limit you if you're constantly relying on past experiences to shape your present and future. When you're stuck in this loop, you might feel like you're not making any progress or that things never change. It's like being on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. This can be frustrating and disheartening. If you want to break free from this cycle, you need to understand how your brain works and how you can change its patterns. The good news is that you have the power to change these patterns. By becoming aware of how your brain relies on past experiences, you can start to create new experiences and change the way you think and feel. This process involves breaking out of old habits and creating new ones. It's about challenging your brain to move beyond the familiar patterns and embrace new possibilities. One way to start breaking this loop is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. By focusing on what's happening right now, you can begin to step out of the past and experience life in a new way. This practice helps you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings and allows you to let go of old patterns that no longer serve you. Another approach is to consciously choose new thoughts and emotions. When you catch yourself repeating old patterns, make a deliberate effort to think and feel differently. For example, if you find yourself feeling anxious about a new project, try to shift your focus to excitement and possibility instead. This can help create new patterns and break the cycle of repeating old emotions. Here's where it gets exciting. Research in neuroscience shows us that we can actually rewire our brains. If we start thinking and feeling as if our desired future has already happened, our brains begin to change. It's like creating a new blueprint for our lives. Imagine this. You think about your future so vividly that your brain starts to believe it's already here. Now let's take this a step further. Can you emotionally embrace this future reality so deeply that your body starts to believe it's living in that future right now? This is where the magic happens. When you fully embrace your future reality, you're signaling to your body to prepare for this new reality. You're not waiting for external success to feel empowered or abundant. Instead, you're feeling these emotions now, as if your dreams have already come true. The process of manifestation requires two key elements: a clear intention and emotional alignment. First, you need to set a clear intention. This is where you define what you want. For example, ask yourself, what would it be like to be healthy? What would it be like to be wealthy or to have a new home? Write down the details of this vision. The more specific you are, the more your brain starts to work in new ways. Once you have a clear intention, it's time to emotionally align with it. As you start to feel what it would be like to live this future, your body begins to get a chemical and emotional sample of it. This means you're not just imagining your future, you're experiencing it emotionally in the present moment. To make this process effective, you need to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts and behaviors. Notice the automatic habits and emotions that keep you tied to the past. By becoming aware of these, you prevent them from slipping by unnoticed. This awareness allows you to focus on new ways of being, which are aligned with your vision of the future. Now, change doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent effort. By repeatedly thinking and feeling according to your new vision, you start to wire new neural connections in your brain. This process, known as neuroplasticity, helps you become familiar with this new state of mind. At the same time, by cultivating positive emotions related to your future, you reinforce this new state, making it a part of your daily experience. The journey of change involves unlearning old patterns and relearning new ones. It's about breaking the habit of the old self and reinventing a new self. This might sound complex, but it's a formula that anyone can understand and apply. You don't need years of meditation experience to make this work. It's about understanding the formula and applying it consistently. You might be asking yourself if things like age, health, or how long you've been meditating really matter when it comes to making changes in your life. The answer is no. These factors don't change the basic formula for transformation. It works for everyone, no matter who you are or where you're starting from. Whether you're young or old, fit or not in great shape, it doesn't matter. The principles of change and transformation apply equally to everyone. This is because the process is not about where you start. It's about what you believe and how you apply those beliefs to your life. First, let's talk about age. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out in life or if you're nearing retirement. The formula for change works at any age. Sometimes people think that getting older means they've missed their chance to make big changes or pursue new dreams. But that's not true. The ability to transform your life is not limited by how many years you've lived. Instead, it's about your willingness to embrace new possibilities and to believe that change is possible no matter your age. Next, consider your health. Whether you're in great shape or struggling with health issues, it doesn't affect your ability to apply the principles of transformation. Health might make some things more challenging, but it doesn't prevent you from starting the process. The key is to believe that you can make changes and that these changes will have a positive impact on your life. When you focus on what you can do rather than what you can't, you open yourself up to new possibilities. And then there's meditation experience. Some people may have been meditating for years, while others might be just beginning. The amount of time you've spent meditating doesn't determine your ability to transform your life. What really matters is your commitment to practicing and your openness to the process. Even if you're new to meditation, you can still benefit from its principles. The important thing is to start where you are and to continue practicing regularly. With time and consistency, meditation can help you align your mind and body with your goals. The most important part of this process is believing in yourself and the possibilities that lie ahead. When you start to believe that change is possible, you begin to see the potential for transformation in your own life. Belief is a powerful tool. It helps you overcome doubts and fears that might hold you back. When you believe in yourself, you're more likely to take action and to keep going, even when things get tough. Believing in possibilities also helps you stay focused on your goals. It keeps you motivated and helps you see opportunities that you might have missed otherwise. When you're open to new possibilities, you start to notice how things can change and improve in your life. You might find new solutions to problems or discover new paths that you hadn't considered before. This belief in possibilities can lead to real transformation. When you start to see potential in your life, you become more willing to take risks and to try new things. You're more likely to step out of your comfort zone and to pursue your dreams with confidence. This shift in mindset can lead to positive changes in your life, such as achieving your goals, improving your health, or finding new sources of happiness. The key to success in this process is paying attention. Your attention is where your energy flows. If you're fully present in the moment, you're conserving energy to create with. But if your mind drifts to the past or future, you're siphoning energy away from the present moment. This energy drain can prevent you from fully experiencing and creating your desired reality. To counter this, you need to become aware of when you're losing focus. If you find yourself thinking about past events or future worries, gently bring your attention back to the present. Each time you do this, you're reinforcing your control over your mind and body. It's a victory in the process of change. When you focus on the present moment, you're doing more than just paying attention to what's happening right now. You're actually teaching your body to follow new rules. Think of it like training a dog. Just as a dog learns new tricks and behaviors through practice, your body learns to respond differently when you stay focused on the present. By keeping your attention on the present, you're telling your body that you're in control. You're not letting old habits and emotions dictate how you feel or how you act. This is a significant change because our habits and emotions from the past can be very strong and automatic. They might make us react in ways we don't want to or keep us stuck in old patterns. But when you focus on the present, you're breaking free from these old patterns and showing your body that you're the one in charge. This shift is powerful. It's like flipping a switch in your mind and body. As you practice staying present, your body begins to accept this new way of being. It starts to let go of old habits and emotions that used to control it. This process is called surrendering to the new mind you're creating. It means your body is starting to align with the new thoughts and feelings you're developing. When your body surrenders to this new way of thinking, it frees up a lot of energy. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered room. When you remove the old junk, there's more space and energy available to do new things. Similarly, when your body lets go of old habits and emotions, it has more energy available for new experiences and growth. This release of energy is very important. It allows you to move from a state of matter, where you're stuck in old patterns and physical limitations, to a state of pure potential. In other words, you're moving from being limited by past experiences and habits to a place where you can create new possibilities for yourself. In the state of pure potential, anything is possible. You're not limited by your past or by old ways of thinking and feeling. Instead, you're open to new opportunities and experiences. This is where real transformation happens. When you're in this state, you have the freedom to explore new ideas, try new things, and create the life you truly want. Staying focused on the present helps you maintain this state of potential. It keeps you grounded in the here and now, where you have the power to make changes and create new experiences. When you're fully present, you're not wasting energy on regrets about the past or worries about the future. Instead, you're using your energy to build the life you want. This process takes practice. It's not something that happens overnight. You need to consistently remind yourself to stay focused on the present and to let go of old habits and emotions. But with time and effort, you'll start to notice significant changes. Your body will become more aligned with your new way of thinking, and you'll feel a greater sense of freedom and potential. As you condition your body to this new mind, you'll find that it becomes easier to stay present and focused. You start to experience a sense of freedom and creativity that wasn't there before. This shift in consciousness allows you to heal from past anxieties and depressions, as you're no longer bound by old patterns. Space and time are interconnected in this process. As you move through space, you experience time. When you shift your awareness from one point to another, you change your experience of time. This means that as you align yourself with your future vision, you're essentially moving through space and time in a way that aligns with your desired outcomes. The process of transformation is about using your mind and body to create a new reality. By stepping into the unknown with a clear intention and emotional alignment, you unlock the potential to manifest your dreams. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment, but about embracing the present and reshaping your future. This process is available to everyone, regardless of their past or current state. It's a formula that works if you understand it and apply it with consistency and belief. Galaxies and causing flowers to bloom. It's both personal and universal. It's within you, and it's all around you, and you can't see it, and you can't smell it, and you can't taste it, and you can't feel it. But it is the giver of life, and it is a consciousness, and consciousness is awareness, and awareness is paying attention, and it is the observer observing you into life. And you know, when I tell our advanced students, either you're going to be defined by a vision of the future or the memories of the past. And then people say, why are you so bitter? Why are you so frustrated? Why are you suffering so much? And your brain, in that emotion, you're in the emotion, which means you're in the chemical residue of the past, is going to call up the event because you're emotionally connected to it. And you're going to say, I'm this way because of that past experience. So then imagine what I do with people. We have people that have been abused. We have people that have been traumatized, that have been assaulted. We have people that have had very, very difficult pasts. And have you ever heard me say to revisit the event? Have you ever heard me say that? Never do we need to revisit the event, because once you do, you open the box. But what we want to do is overcome the emotion, because that's just what's lasting from the event. So you sit a person down, and the moment you sit them down, what do you think the body is going to do? It's going to look for something to recreate that emotion, because that's the person's identity. Are you with me still? So if I inspire the person to sit there, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden they're noticing that they're hot and they're irritated and their stomach is twisting, and all of a sudden it's a group of sensations, a group of feelings that they have called all along frustration. But the different sensations, the moment you name it, it becomes an emotion. But what it is just bodily sensations. It's energy that's stuck in the body. So the body is looking to go back to the past. It's believing it's in the past. Are you with me still? So if the person becomes aware that their body is doing that, and like training an animal, allow the body to feel that emotion and then settle it down into the present moment. When you settle it down into the present moment, the body starts to trust the present moment and move out of the past. And there's a release of energy. Then the body goes, wait a second, What's going to happen in the next moment? And it starts doing that, and it starts to try anticipate the future. And you settle the body back down into the present moment. And every time you do that, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and your will is getting greater than the program. And all of a sudden, you start to lower the volume to that emotion. And when you begin to break the addiction to that emotion, the side effect of breaking that addiction is called joy. It's called freedom. All of a sudden, the body's saying, I don't want to be tormented anymore. Now, does that mean you shouldn't grieve over things that you lose? Grieving is a biological process. It's neural pruning. It's a death of circuitry. It's a death of emotions. It's the absence of void of something in your life. And that's important. In grief, sooner or later, you've got to come to a greater understanding about death, a greater understanding about loss, a greater understanding so that you can adapt to those conditions. Every time I sit with someone and they start complaining about their life, and I let them go for a few minutes, and then I go, oh, you know what I say to them? You only complain about your life when it's not working. And the emotion that you're feeling right now is keeping you connected to the past. You never do this when your life is working. And so I don't have a problem with moving through the stages of emotions. But I also know that what a person really wants more than anything else is to be free. People want to be free. And I have witnessed transformation. It was so alive in their mind that they began to live as if that future reality was happening in the present moment. So here's my question. Can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already occurred? The latest research in neuroscience says you can change your brain from living in the past to living in the future. And can you fall in love with that vision to such a degree that you come out of your resting state and change guilt or suffering into inspiration and joy and gratitude? To such a degree that your body, as the unconscious mind, does not know the difference between that external event and what you're creating internally, so that your body believes it's living in that future, in the present moment, and you begin to signal new genes in new ways to change your body to look like the event has already occurred. The latest research in epigenetics says you can change your body by thought alone. Now reason this with me. If there's physical evidence in your brain and body to look like the event has already occurred, your brain and body are no longer living in the past, they're living in the future, and you will walk right into your vision, something new you wanted to experience. And the moment you started thinking about this experience, the moment you started contemplating this potential reality, you turned on a part of your brain called the frontal lobe, the crowning achievement of the human being. It's 40% of your entire brain. It is the creative center, and it has connections to all other parts of the brain. And the moment you said, what would it be like to be a leader? What would it be like to be successful? What would it be like to have this vision come true? The moment you asked that open-ended question, you turned on this part of the brain because the rest of the brain is just a bunch of automatic programs. And now the frontal lobe, the creative center, wakes up and it has connections to the entire brain. It's the CEO, it's the boss, it's the symphony leader of the brain. And the moment you get creative, the frontal lobe begins to select different networks of neurons that are stored in your brain from things you've learned or experienced. And as you begin to think a what-if question, it begins to select these different networks and begins to seamlessly piece them together and making your brain fire in new sequences and in new patterns and new combinations. And whenever you make your brain work differently, you're changing your mind, because mind is the brain in action. Mind is the brain at work. And the moment those neurons fire in tandem, you get a picture in your mind, a hologram, a vision. For those people who are passionate, that thought that they're thinking begins to create an elevated emotion. They become inspired, they feel enthusiastic, they become passionate. They started to open their hearts. And all of a sudden, they're combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion. And it's the combination of a clear intention and an elevated emotion in our research over and over again that proves then the person now is changing fundamentally, changing biologically, changing internally. And their brain and body are moving from living in the past into living in the future. When you do that, when you had that moment, you came out of your resting state and then you started to write down all the things you were going to do to get to that vision, all the choices you were going to make, all of the experiences or goals you wanted to achieve, and all of the emotions and the joy you would feel. And when you were doing that, you were setting your sights towards that destiny. And then you did something really brilliant. You wrote down the choices you weren't going to make. You became aware of the behaviors you weren't going to demonstrate. You began to review certain experiences you wanted to stay away from, and then you looked at the emotions that would bring you to a lower level, and you began to separate the old self from the new self. And when you begin to do that and you're observing the old self, it means you're no longer the program. Now you're the consciousness observing the program, and that's when you begin to objectify your subjective self. And so the moment you stop making the same choices that you always make, get ready, because it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the moment you're heading towards the new self. Do you think that you can change the circuits in your brain by thinking about it? So I did this experiment a little ways back. It took these people who never played the piano before, and they separated them into 4 categories. And they said, listen, we're going to scan your brains before you learn this exercise, and then we're going to scan your brain after. And all you have to do is show up for 2 hours a day and practice for 2 weeks, okay? And just follow the instructions. And we're going to hook your brain up to these sophisticated scans, and we're going to see what happens before and after. So they got with these people, and they said, okay, first group, here's the scales, and here's the chords. They're one-handed exercises. Practice them over and over again. Keep playing them. So they played every single day, 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. They scanned their brains before, they scanned their brains after. After 2 weeks, guess what happened? Whole new set of circuits lit up in their brain that never lit up before. That makes sense. You learn something new. Learning is making new connections. Repeating it over and over again is sustaining or maintaining those connections, and that's called memory. So they memorized what they were doing by physically practicing or personalizing what they learned. Make sense? Yes. Standard. Simple. It took the second group of people, and they said, listen, we want you to play 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. We're going to scan your brain before and after. You know what we're going to do? We're not going to tell you how to play anything. You just come and do whatever you want. Play whatever you want. So at the end of 2 weeks, guess what happened to them? Nothing. You know why? Because they couldn't remember what they had learned the day before. And they couldn't remember what they played the day before, and they had no structure. They got no instruction and no knowledge to be able to apply it to make some steady circuits. It took the third group of people, and they said, listen, don't even show up. Don't even create your day. Same thing, nothing happens. The last group of people, they said, listen, we want you to come 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. We're going to show you these one-handed exercises, but instead of you physically playing the piano, we want you to mentally rehearse over and over again those exercises. We know you're going to get tired, so we'll nudge you and we'll keep you awake. But you practice for 2 hours a day and you keep repeating those. The end of 2 weeks, they rescanned their brain, and guess what happened? Same area of the brain lit up as if they were actually playing the scales. Now you know what that means? They grew new circuits in their brain just by thinking about it, just by thinking, just by rehearsing. Now every time we learn something new, we make new circuits in the brain. If you learn anything new, learning is making a new connection in the brain. New neurological connection. Memory is maintaining or sustaining those connections, keeping them alive. And the only way that we maintain and sustain connections in the brain is by repetition. Repetition allows the neurons to develop a long-term relationship. So these people every single day made it the most important thing. They gave up their social engagements. They gave up television. They said, I'm going to rehearse. I'm going to mentally rehearse the greatest ideal of myself every single day. And as long as I keep doing it every day, what's going to happen to those circuits? They're going to light up and become the more sustainable circuits to act as a platform of who they will become in the future. During this process of rehearsal, while they were sitting down rehearsing who they were going to be, just like the piano players rehearsing over and over again, they had long moments where they lost track of time and space. In other words, they became so involved with what they were doing that when they opened their eyes or they lifted up their eye masks or when they turned the lights on in the room, it was 2 hours later, and it only seemed like 5 minutes. They were so involved with what they were doing that they lost the feedback of the body, they lost the feedback from the environment, and they lost track of time.